Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the video. I'm going to show you how you can structure commissions for your marketing agency in order it makes sense for you so that you make a decent profit, and in order it makes sense for your clients so they don't overpay on the customer acquisition cost, right? Which is going to be ultimately your commission. Now, I theory crafted this shit myself. I theory crafted all of this, these 2 pages, and to be honest with you, it took me about 3 hours to do this because I was looking to your YouTube to see how I can make sense about this. I was changing my offer yesterday and I came up with this. This is going to be very, very valuable if you don't know what to charge, basically, what commission basis you charge, if you struggle, with selling your commission based work. So this is going to be very valuable for you if that's you. Now, first, what you need to understand is this pyramid, right? It's not a pyramid scheme. It's just a quick diagram explaining how everything works. So you can basically charge per lead, charge per appointment, charge per show, or charge per client, which is going to be most valuable for your customers. So if you're working with gyms, a lead is going to be semi-valuable, it is what it is. An appointment, on the other hand, is going to be much more valuable, and a show that's going to be even more valuable, right? And the most valuable thing, of course, is going to be a client. So this is kind of how it works, and everything sits on the ICP, on the ideal client profile, right? So you don't want to be generating, if you're working, let's take this as an example, if you're working with home improvement companies, let's say they're a roofing company, you don't want to be generating leads that are looking for internal remodeling, right? You want to actually be generating their ICP, right? And that's the point. If you're not generating their ideal client profile, these people, I wouldn't even consider it a lead myself, and that's what I do. So lead is a positive engagement, right? So if you're running, let's say, Facebook ads, a lead is somebody who fills out the form, and is looking for a roofing remodel, let's say, if you're running this kind of ads. An appointment, on the other hand, is somebody who has already scheduled in. So let's say a lead that booked in for a roofing quote. Then a show up would be, I mean, it's not going to make sense in the roofing industry, but in a gym sense, let's say, you're running a gym ad for a gyms. Somebody who showed up to the gym, right, and actually requested a quote from the gym, what kind of training they do provide. And then the client is going to be somebody who ends up paying for basically, your client. And this is going to be the most valuable thing. Now, a basic commission sheet now. So this is going to be very, very simple. If you're not willing to go a bit more advanced and do some calculation, some economic calculations, just take this, right? But it's not going to be applicable for all niches. That's why I made this page. It's going to be only applicable for, I would say, e-com. It's going to be applicable for info and maybe for low ticket home improvement industry. So let's say for bathroom, like small bathroom remodels, junk removal, some shit like that. But it's not going to be for high ticket industry. For people that have a much higher LTV than $10,000, it's not going to be very applicable. So let me explain. And also this is made with fairly high profit margins. So if your niche they don't have high profit margins, this is not going to be applicable. But you can just take it as it is. It's going to be easy if you don't want to do the work and calculate everything in your niche. It's going to be very easy to just use this data, right? So for clients who have low ticket products, $100 to $1,000, you can think of e-com stores, you can think of info products, courses. You're going to charge 5% of the LTV per lead. So LTV stands for lifetime value, meaning the amount that your customer generates from their client in their lifetime, right? So let's say your client charges $1,000 per month and their average retention rate is 5 months. Their lifetime value is going to be $5,000. And out of those $5,000, you're going to get, if you're charging per lead, you're going to get about 5%, right? So you can calculate everything right here. I wouldn't recommend going with per lead. What we do usually is per show, per rev appointment. I don't know why it says rev appointment. It's just per appointment. But per appointment or rev share, right? So we never go with per lead. And I would recommend you do the same. I would go with per show, let's say. And then of course, per appointment is going to be 10% of the LTV for low ticket products, 15% for the ones that do show up, and I would say about 27 is going to be the golden middle, how much you want to charge per client acquired. Now, for mid-ticket products, this is going to be for products ranging anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 in lifetime value. So you can think of some mid-ticket courses, let's say, some sales programs, low ticket, I would say, home improvement, like just some small installs, plumbing. It's going to be these kinds of products, right? And you're going to want to charge 1.25% of the LTV per lead. You're going to charge 3.5% of the LTV from appointment and 5% per show of the LTV. And then rev share, this is a bit more, I would say, it depends on what your niche's close rate is. You can charge a bit less if you're, let's say, in the interior design industry. They usually have a high close rate. I was once in that industry, and I know that it was about 50 to 60% close rate, because the people that do sign up, they already know what they're looking for. So you're going to do about 10%. You're not going to go with 25. This is going to be for more online products where the sales is generally harder, right? And then with clients who have mid-ticket products, I would say $3,000 to $5,000, you're going to want to charge $0.75, 75% of the LTV. So if you're running, let's say, I don't know, a product that costs $5,000, you're just going to charge 0.75%. Per show is going to be 3.5, per appointment is going to be 2.25, and then rev share, it's also very flexible. What you can do here depends on the close rate. I would go just with 7.5%. What we have next is for clients with high ticket products. So this is for clients who have their services ranging anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 plus. This is the last year that I've included. There's going to be, of course, niches that charge a shit ton of money and make a shit ton of money basically from the lifetime value of a customer to them. It's going to be generally like a lot of local businesses, not really e-com stores, maybe some info businesses. But let's say you're working with an info business and they charge $10,000 per course, and a lot of them do. You're going to, if you generate one lead for them, you're going to take about 0.5% of their LTV. If you get them an appointment, 1.5% per show. So this is an appointment that shows up, 2.5%, and the rev share, I would usually just go with 6%, 5 to 6%, something like that. Now, I'm going to walk you through the advanced commission structure. So this is really going to be how you can actually, in more advanced terms, structure your commission, basically share. And the core formula, which is going to be our main formula that we're going to be using, is going to be commission, basically commission percentage of the LTV, equates agency share times conversion rate times allowable customer acquisition cost. Now, first, what you'll need to do is define allowable customer acquisition cost. And this is going to be very, very niche dependent. So you're going to want to gather industry averages on the following data. Now, what I recommend doing is asking ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok at the same time on what the industry averages are, and then just calculating the basically the core, right? What they say. So let's say Gemini gives me $5,000. Grok gives me $6,000 and ChatGPT gives me 7,000. I would just go with 6,000, right? Of the lifetime value, right? Let's say. You can also, if you have experience, if you had been on a lot of sales calls, you might already know a little bit about your ICP, what their LTV is, what their costs are, and what their net profit margins are. But you can still ask ChatGPT and just define this data. I'm going to include a worksheet that you can use to do this, and also this document in the description. But really, once you have this data, so for me, I'm going to write this down with you. Allowable, let's say lifetime value is going to be about $5,000 for the coaches and consultants and the agency owners really that I work with. I don't know why I did that. Okay, and then the next is going to be the cost, right? So you can think of overhead, you can think of just direct costs that are going to be needed to, run the system, pay the VAs and everything. So it's going to usually, the costs are usually going to be about 40% for these kinds of companies. Let's say marketing agency, right? Marketing agencies are going to have higher costs than, let's say, consultants, right? Because it's a more, I would say, it's harder to run these ads because consulting is more direct information, right? You give them direct information, but agency, you really do all of the work. And then the net profit margin, let's say, this is really what they want to keep. In the home improvement industry or in the gym industry is going to be very different. Let's say in the home improvement industry, they'll be happy if they keep about 30%, while in the gym industry, they want to have at least 60%, okay? Because it's going to be a lower ticket product, right? So net profit margins for my industry is going to be about 40%. That's what they, want to keep for their business, net profit margin. Now what we're going to calculate here, let me just tab out of this, okay? Okay, yeah. So what we're going to calculate is going to be the allowable CAC. So you just want to take the LTV, which is going to be $5,000 in this case. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take one minus the cost, so minus 40%, and then minus the 40%, which is going to be about 0.2. That's going to be the end result of this, right? Let me actually take a calculator because for some reason, I can't open it up here in the tab, I don't know. But I'm going to do the CTU, right? So let's take LTV, okay? So we have 5,000 minus, yeah, I think it is no, it's times. So let's take 5,000 as I did earlier and times by 0.2, yeah, exactly. And their allowable CAC is going to be about $1,000. So this is how we define allowable CAC, right? Let me write it down. Allowable CAC for me, and this is what you can do with me straight away, is going to be about $1,000, right? Now, I run outbound, I don't do ads, nothing like that. So for that reason, I'm going to have a fairly high agency share, right? Because allowable CAC, it accounts the hard costs as well, right? So agency share equates to the percentage of the allowable CAC you can basically keep as your fee, right? And after the client covers the hard costs and needed to generate the results, really, right? So you might be spending $500 on ads to get a customer, right? Maybe if you're in the real estate niche, it's going to cost you 500, probably even more. Like it's going to cost you a lot more to generate a customer, right? Through ads. And you're going to have to deduce that, right? So you're going to have to define hard costs first. You just have to define the ad spend, operations, softwares, VAs. For me, these hard costs are going to be about 20%. I already did the calculation on my own. But what you can do really is take this formula, right? So you're going to take the remaining CAC and then equate. This is basically how you're going to get the remaining CAC. You're going to take allowable CAC and minus hard costs, right? So allowable CAC is going to be $1,000, and let's say hard costs are 40%, which I'm going to just take as an example. So the allowable CAC is $1,000 minus 40% is going to be about $6,000, right? So $600. Sorry, fuck. So $600 is going to be around $600 that we can basically profit on our own agency. So if you're maybe in an info space, it's probably going to be the same. And then the agency share is going to be basically the remaining CAC times divided by the allowable CAC. And for this case, it's going to be 0.6. So this is about 60% that we have left. Okay, this is it for the agency share. This is what you need to calculate. Now let's get into the conversion rate. This is the last part of the equation, right? So it's gonna be this is gonna be the easiest part. The hard part is already over. So the conversion rate, we use these three formulas. Now it depends on which model you go with. If you charge per lead, you're going to want to use this formula. If you go with per appointment, you're going to want to use this formula. Per show, this, and if you just go pay per client, just do a simple calculation like this. Now, what I do usually is go pay per show. So I'm going to just take the client's average basically sales conversion rate, which is going to be about 20%, divided by 100, which is going to, I think it's going to be about 0.2, right? So we're going to have a 0.2. Now we have all of the data. We have the conversion rate for our agency. We have, and the reason we divided by 100 is to get this decimal number. But basically we are done here, right? We have all of this information that we can put into the core formula, right? And actually get how much we should charge per commission. Now, as I said, we have the allowable CAC. We do have the agency share, which is 0.6. The allowable CAC is $1,000. And the last part is the conversion rate, which is 0.2. This is going to be the last part. Now to calculate everything, we're going to take basically all of this information and basically times everything together. So the allowable CAC, let me see, is 1,000. So let's take 1,000 and then times 0. So my camera disconnected for some reason. Let's go from where we were. So 1,000 times 0.2 times 0.6 is going to be about 120, right? So this is how much we can charge pay per show. So we're going to get 120 is going to be the end. We're going to get $120 per show, right? So if the client they're running an offer, they have an info offer, right? I'm working with this let's say consulting company. They have an info offer, and every time we get them a show, we can charge $120 from their bank account. Now, this is how you can do an advanced structure. You can also calculate all of this data into this sheet right here. You can copy it and do it for your specific niche. That's what I've done here. But this is really going to be the end for this video. I hope this was valuable. And this is really the advanced theory craft on how you can charge commissions for your marketing agency.